Guten Tag, meine sehr verehrten Damen und Herren. Es freut mich sehr, Sie hier begrüßen zu dürfen. Ich präsentiere 50 plus Döner.
What? Uh, no audio issues this time, chat. I hope. Hello. If we are being heard, we'll have to see in a second. But, uh, hey, hello, Shades of Blue. Hello, Caverin One. We are joined by Zweite Bundesliga extraordinaire, all the way in Australia. He said he was a morning person. I am not, so I would be dead asleep right now. But Matthew, how are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
I am swell. Um, he was telling me earlier. Fun fact: if you think about the globe, it's actually winter in the southern hemisphere right now. Fun to think about. The Earth, right?
Yeah. Hey, man, seasons, I like that we're very consistent. We have the 3-3-3-3 system. So in September, it'll be spring spring and then obviously summer. And then you guys, we call it autumn here. And I assume it's fall. Is that what
Yeah, they're kind of interchangeable.
Yeah. Okay.
Um, the other thing, so I was kind of freaking out for a little bit because I thought I saw on your Twitter profile that you're in. I would never know how to say it, Adelaide.
That's the one. Yeah,
And then
Adelaide.
I saw the time zone is like 30 minutes, but also not really. It's like, what is that?
Yeah, our time zone's very weird. It's much like America, we've got three separate time zones. And then when we hit daylight savings in the summer, we have four different time zones because one of the eastern states, Queensland, doesn't do daylight savings. It's very strange. It's a very strange country. We've got the stigma of everything wants to kill you. So, come at your own pleasure if you want. The spiders, crocodiles. I've got a kangaroo to drive to the supermarket. No, I'm
Oh,
kidding. No, we
the
don't do
rumors are
that.
true.
Could you imagine, like, just hop into the pouch and take me to the local supermarket? I need to get some food. So no. We don't do that. But we like to poke fun at it.
So Matthew, please tell us about yourself. You are a man of many infamy. If someone looks up, you have a lot going on. Why don't you decipher it for us?
All right. Yeah, I would agree that I'm a busy operator. Professionally, I have two titles. I'm a digital marketer by trade for an agency, but I also do content and just regular marketing for beIN Sports Australia, which is why I'm in Sydney right now to finally meet the team that I've been working with for the last 7 or 8 months.
Huh?
Which has been fun. Really good group of guys, really passionate about football, which is fantastic. Did the Spider Bundesliga podcast for 5 seasons, taken a bit of a break from it, which which was difficult, but it was something to help improve a bit of work-life balance. With everything going on, you need to take a bit of time for yourself. So it's obviously disappointing because this is going to be an interesting year. You've got Köln coming back into the league. You've got Ulm and Munster who haven't been in the Zweite Bundesliga for 30 to 40 years apiece. So, and you've still got the big hitters like Hamburg who may never leave. We don't know. It's like Hotel California. It's like Hotel California. They arrived and now they're not allowed to leave. Schalke are still here. We'll talk about some of the teams to watch. And there's certainly one team that, having seen what they've done in the summer window, is one team that I'm really bullish on. What else is there about me? I don't know. Like, I just am a sports freak. I just watch lots of sport, an unhealthy amount of sports watching, whether it's NFL, hockey, basketball, Formula One, Aussie rules footy, of course, which I implore anyone who ever heads to Australia to go see an Aussie rules game. You may never understand what the hell is going on, but it's good fun for a good 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours. Golf, So yeah, I guess that's really a bit about me. And so especially this transfer window, I've been pretty busy doing some stuff with all the Fabian Hertzler stuff with him going to Brighton Hove Albion. So recently I was on BBC Sports Sussex to talk with the people who cover Brighton, and then yesterday, and that BBC Sport or BBC Live 5, I think, was who I was doing it for. Before the season begins in the Premier League, you'll get to hear my voice talk about Hertzler and the prospect of being one of the new coaches in the Premier League. So, yeah, I'm just reading the comments. Hey, man.
Graduating from unbiased university today.
Listen, like I always go with the mantra that like I dislike teams equally, so I dislike my own teams as well. So very impartial operation, but there's definitely, there are some. Let's just say there are definitely going to be a few teams that I like more because of whether it's a stylistic of football, players, So don't worry, I'm not gonna like. There are a couple of teams that I dislike, but you won't hear them now.
Yeah, Vegas rules. Nobody will over. We'll never know. so I guess the big question that I had when oh my god, I hit my mic. The big question I had was like, why specifically the Zweite Bundesliga? Like you see, like other teams, like it's such a specific like kind of focus on, which I love. But like, what kind of had you settle on that specifically for your podcast?
I think like many things, you start with like the first division and you see that there's an influx of content being made on the Bundesliga. And, given at the time that there was sort of an open market for English content in the Zweite Bundesliga, it became like a really good option. But before even considering entering that space, you want to make sure that it's accessible, which at the time it wasn't legally accessible to catch the Zweite Bundesliga. And how was the schedule? What could work out? And do I like it as much as the Bundesliga? And ultimately, I did, because it was a lot more unpredictable. There was a new champion every year, which also helps. There's the promotion and relegation battles, and it had all the same ingredients that you'd get from the Bundesliga, but just a lot more chaos. And there's a lot more fun with the chaos versus, well, I already know what's going to happen, who's playing for second. And throughout the 5 years that I covered the Zweite Bundesliga, I can tell you I got a lot more wrong than I did right, because it was just so hard. I mean, how many more times can I put Hamburg in the top three? I've done it, I think, 5 of even this year, I think I've got them in the top 3 of my preseason predictions. So, so maybe this is the year, but I'm not so certain. But yeah, it was just something that kind of happened, and the sort of the uniqueness of teams, and you had your giants, of course, but also lesser known teams, and getting to know them and people who support those clubs was something that was a lot more interesting than what we already knew, because we had all the coverage for the Bundesliga in the English language. So it was definitely an opportunity, but there was definitely interest to enter into that space, and then try and build from that, and try to build a community of people who would share that same enthusiasm that I did.
Nice. And then, was Johnny ever with you? I don't remember.
So like Johnny's the OG. So Johnny's the OG. So like he's the one who had the idea, and he sort of had like a couple of test episodes he did for I want to say the 17-18 season.
Also, not to cut you off, just for clarity's sake, that Johnny is the social media admin for FC Colma, if you need to know.
Yep, that's right. And he did a lot of English he did a lot of writing for Vavel. He was like one of the editors there, and they had like a Zweite Bundesliga team, him and a few other guys. So he did a few test episodes, and he was like, he wanted to push into it, and he was looking for suggestions, and I was like, hey man, you should probably look to get a second person, because it makes the podcast a bit more conversational. You can sort of have a variance of opinions. It's not just me regurgitating what happened during the week or the weekend and me telling you what I think, and then you don't have, you don't really. It's just one-sided. It's very one-sided. It's like, this is my opinion on what happened, which is kind of what happened in the last season of the podcast. so he and I were the first. We did it collaborative for a bit, and then he got the job at Köln, and then then the keys were firmly handed to me, and from there it was, it was fun.
Yeah. And of course, the other question that even I get asked, and I feel like everyone outside of Germany get asked, is why German football of anything on the planet, especially for you, because what time are the games on for you? Like, what time are those on in Australia?
The Bundesliga games are at awful times, so you get sort of you're like 11. In Adelaide, it's like 11 p.m. But then when daylight savings kicks in, it's 1 a.m.
Oh,
The Friday night game is the best time in daylight savings. It's like 6 a.m., which I'm typically up because my cat typically wakes me up around that time because she's hungry and wants food. And essentially, yeah. So I'll tell you the story of how I first found the Bundesliga. So, we're gonna have to go way back. Might show my age a little bit. The first game I ever watched was Borussia Dortmund against FC Köln. Fun fact.
Allah.
It was on 1HD. Now, 1HD is a defunct TV station, but it was a free-to-air sports channel. And it was really new, and they were getting some rights to some leagues, and they had F1, and it was really cool. The game was not a good game. It was a slugfest, and Köln were resilient for a good chunk of the game. And then with 10 minutes to go, Marvin Matip scores an own goal, and Dortmund wins. I'm name dropping Ingolstadt less right there. And there was something about the atmospheres and the uniqueness and something, because like in Australia, the EPL is king, and then you'd probably say Serie A, because especially in Adelaide, there's a really strong Italian community. So when Italy won the Euro in 21, the Italian community, after winning in penalties, all went to Victoria Square, which is in the city, and they ate flares and they were celebrating. They were in the streets, like people commuting to work on a Monday morning, and they are just causing absolute carnage. And it was great. Like, it was good fun. It was all enjoyable. And I mean, I was at a coffee shop, and I think I was the only one not wanting England to win. So that was fun. Anyway, I'm getting off topic. So yeah, it was just such a difference of footballing experience. And they had the highlight shows. They had 3 games a week that they were showing on 1HD, and from there, I sort of followed it to Setanta Sports when they got the rights, and it was 4 games a week, and then being absorbed Setanta Sport in Australia, and then I think it was like 2015 or 2016 is when the DFL decided that it was going to be not all 9 games were going to be world feed, and from there. It just happened. But yeah, it was pretty organic, and it was you kind of feel unique in a way, because whilst most of like the people love English football, you know something a little bit different, and I think it helps a little bit that you can be like, oh, whenever a player heads to the Premier League, oh, is he good? And then I can give my honest opinion. Also helps, it provides opportunities if people want to talk to me and discuss like German football. So that's always good fun.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of parallels between the U.S. and Australia in that way, because, I mean, there's Premier League fans in this chat, too. But when I tell people, like, oh, they're like, what's your favorite Premier League team? I'm like, I don't watch the Premier League, like, at all. I watch, like, maybe 1 game a season, and you just see their eyes just, like, roll around in their head.
I mean, like, I've got friends who watch the Premier League, and sometimes we just have, like, a group thing and we watch it. But often... trying to get them to come the other way around. Hey, come watch the Bundesliga. Like, who's playing? Who's playing?
Who's playing it? Yeah. Despite the Bundesliga, if they knew, which they will after the show, absolute chaotic league.
It hits different, but like, and this is like the funny thing about it is we're probably entering another year where the Zweite Bundesliga, in terms of entertainment and drama, is going to be better than the Bundesliga.
Yeah.
Like, even though Leverkusen won the league and that was quite historical in them winning the league, if that storyline doesn't exist, no one, the Zweite Bundesliga once again was just complete and utter carnage. So you had Schalke having a bad season, the drama in Berlin with Hertha just doing Hertha things, and Hamburg, throwing away another chance at promotion, and St. Pauli finally getting up, and so like I think there are a lot more storylines to be told, but unfortunately, it could be said that we don't get the opportunity or the same love, and I can understand why. It's all pretty financial in the end, but there's definitely some stories to be told, but I don't think they're told enough.
No, definitely not. I'm gonna read chat real quick. 11 p.m. games might beat 5 a.m. games. Yeah, I feel like that's in like a weird in between of like the game will end at 1.
Yeah.
Like, I guess it depends if you're a night owl or you like waking up. Which I guess for you, that 11 p.m. is a nightmare.
I mean, like, the Zweite Bundesliga games are much better. So, like, when it's normal time, it's not daylight savings, it's standard time. We have the Zweite Bundesliga games are like 8:30 p.m. and on a Saturday, and then 9 p.m. on the Sunday. Ooh. Like, that's just absolutely gold. Prime time, oh, let's head out. Oh, sorry, man. Prime time. Got 3 games going on. Got to get the conference going. So, can't help you with that one. Really sorry. Busy.
I usually only catch a game that time if I pop. Oh, like later time. I saw you rooting for Crystal Palace once. You'll never get that out of me. Is Die Zweite Liga difficult to watch in Australia, or can you stream all the games?
It's okay. So this is great promotion for my own the Bean will be thrilled about this. Look, they only get 2 games a week, and that's what the DFL produces. And much like with America with ESPN, it's on ESPN Plus, I suppose. But they only get the 2 games, and it's a shame. Yeah. I know I understand the reasoning, but like when you chat to commentators and people who are in the know, like, there is definitely an element of frustration as to why they can't do those games, because they and I'm not going to name drop people because that's just not fair on them. But when I was in Germany and I was very fortunate to meet some unbelievably cool people, it definitely felt that there was a frustration that there should be more games produced in the English language. But it's not up to them. It's not up to us. It's unfortunately another issue. And maybe in the future we'll get the upgrade from 2 to, I don't know, 4, or maybe all 9. And if all 9 becomes a thing, then you bet your sweet BP I'm going to do everything I can to try and be part of that, because that would be really good. But it is really difficult. I can see Ryan's asking. So like the other way to watch it, like betting apps, or if you've somehow got a link, someone who knows the right streaming platforms to those particular websites, which
we would never go on, of course.
We would never go on. Not those types of websites. Mm-mm. But it is really difficult. So like, and the thing is, like, they will pick fixtures based off popularity of team typically, but also if that club will let them do the world feed, bring the world feed cameras in to the stadium. So, some stadiums are easier than others, but like, for example, I can, just having a look at the fixture off the top of my head, teams like Hamburg, Hertha, Schalke, Köln, those teams will get a ton of games this year because, massive stadiums, big support. And, that's typically what they lean to. It's not, I think you'd love them to spread the love a bit and try and have a bit of variety, but you'll see like certain teams you might see once or twice a year. And, I suppose as the season goes on, you probably focus on the teams that are going to win the league rather than those who are fighting for relegation.
Yeah, we actually counted those last year. I think Hamburg had like literally half of the games on the world feed. Like, what in the world?
Yeah, them and Hertha had like a period where I think there were 6 straight weeks on the world feed. It's like,
yeah,
you get sick of them, like, just like diagonal long balls to Fabian Rieser and seeing if he will cook or not. Like, some stage you want to see a bit of variance in terms of the attacks. And that it was funny because I went to the Olympiastadion in April to see them play Hanover. They scored early in the game with a Mark Oliver Kempf header. And that's all they did for the rest of the game, shooting diagonals to Riesa, and then Hanover would just chuck 3 players on him. And they kept doing, like, we're going back. I've got one more left. Like, maybe you should try something else. Oh, we're going to catch him up by surprise by playing a diagonal. But it was fun, though. Like, the Zweite Bundesliga games I did go to, which while I was there were awesome. Like, they were amazing. Like, I know Gelsenkirchen copped a lot of crap during the Euro because it's, you know, because of the type of city it is. But, and like, I can understand where they're coming from, but the people were very nice, and it's an awesome stadium. The Feltons Arena is amazing. The atmosphere, the noise, and they played Nuremberg that evening. Incredible atmosphere, being that the fan friendship. You know, Hamburg went to the Volkspark Stadion, amazing stadium. That was when Kiel beat them a goal to nil, and it almost sealed Hamburg's fate as a team that wasn't going to gain promotion. Yeah. It was the whistles and boos, and actually being in the press conference after to hear Stefan Baumgart talk and say some pretty crass things about. I was pitch side right behind where the goal happened, and he was like, "Oh, there's a foul, and you know the keeper was fouled, and it shouldn't have been." And like I'm right. I was like right there. And myself and another journalist, we kind of looked at each other like, "Did he watch the same game we did? Did he have the same footage?" Because you know, I was right there, and I can tell the temptation to be like, "Excuse me, Stefan, but tell the truth. Come on, we know." But that was good. Hanover was really cool. Quite a unique stadium, and then the Olympiastadion definitely worth the experience. I mean, they had it was 59,000 for a Friday night game against Hanover. I mean, don't get that often. So that was really cool. So yeah, I know this is just me talking about myself and my experiences, but
no, this is
definitely.
Great.
We're
gonna throw away the whole shit that we had planned. We can just talk.
This is what the DFL needs. They need people who like they should you know go into the concept. There's so many people, so many creators and people who love the league, and then they just I feel like that's an untapped market as well. You know, there are definitely people who are talented enough to really talk about the league, and you know, they might not have the biggest platform, but they're definitely the most passionate.
Yeah, I feel like one of the things is like after the Euros with the whole obsession with Scotland, a bunch of Scottish people started making podcasts and stuff. So maybe that will help a lot as well.
Well, actually, okay, so I can tell you a story. When I finished off in Berlin at the Hertha game, we got stuck on the train. So like, if anyone's been to Berlin, you get like the S-Bahn and it takes you to the Olympiastadion, which is perfect. It's like one track straight to the stadium. And I got caught up in a train with 3 Scottish people, and we were kind of just talking, and they were Celtic fans, and it was their first trip to Germany, and they were like talking about it, and we ended up talking about Jackson Irvine because he's played in Scotland before, and they were talking about how much like how amazing it was, and it's just like those kinds of stories. And like I think for programs like this and you know what we tried to do is like, okay, we're trying to convince people in many ways to watch German football because we see the magic and the lure of how great it is. It's just that, you know, we always, there's facing the uphill battle of, well, first of all, you know, everyone thinks about the Premier League because it's the best marketed league worldwide. Like that's just a fact because it's made to be accessible. It's, you know, they got there before everyone else. When you land first, you essentially get, you know, bragging rights. And unfortunately, every other league was playing catch up, and some leagues were just happy to keep it within their own bubble. And now when you're in a situation where you need to grow the game internationally, some leagues find it a lot harder to do so because of, you know, the Premier League would beat them to the punch. Or you could say sometimes the marketing hasn't been strong enough in certain regions. Like, you know, I would say there's probably not enough done with like Irvine and Metcalf, like for example. Like there'll be a lot more done this season because they're in the Bundesliga, but in a general sense, there was 3 players in the Zweite Bundesliga, and you know, if it wasn't for someone beating the drum, you know, no one would have even known that they were playing at St. Pauli. So and Johnny Iredale at Wiesbaden. So like it's frustrating because more should be done. Like it's such a wasted opportunity, but again, as I said, it's all financial. Everything's to do with money, and it's a case of whether they want to spend the money or they don't have the money, and then it comes back to that investment deal that broke through, which supposedly part of it was going to help grow the game internationally. But I guess we'll never know.
So we won't put you in a professional bind and talk about like media coverage, but in terms of like what you know about teams, other than finances, like what you see like Köln training in Austria, and you see like mostly them training in Europe.
Yep.
Augsburg did an African tour somehow. Like Eintracht Frankfurt's over here. Like, what have you kind of seen that determines that are maybe outside of finances?
Just I suppose a lot of it. There's two sorts of it. So like when teams go to like the US or Japan is another one where Dortmund are at the moment, and Bayern I think are over in Asia as well. It's all about, for them. It's all about growing in that market. Individual teams trying to grow in the market. I mean, Kaiserslautern were in Louisville last year during the winter break, which was cool. And like smaller teams, the teams have done that, and they've done that to build relationships, or in many ways, which has become quite common now. Those club collaborations have become very popular, where these clubs will say, "Oh, we'll have a handshake agreement. We might send a couple of our youth players to develop with like Hanover, for example, which one of the Mito Hollyhock do. They sent a couple of their like younger academy players to Hanover and got them playing in either the youth team or the second team, and just helping them to grow and develop. And when they come back, they might play for the first team or might be sold off, or so like this part of the thing is building relationships with other clubs. That's sort of the main thing that clubs do, and obviously they would get incentives, whether it's from like foreign governments to, hey, come here and play and we'll give you X, X, and X. Or they might have a sponsorship collaboration, which is why, for example, Bayern for so many years went to Qatar during the winter break, because of their ties with Qatar Airways. So there's a difference of things, but definitely there needs to be a bit more encouragement. And I guess the other thing is like this all comes back to like the issues that we've got with crowded, like the overscheduling of football. Like there's a lot of football and when you have a team come over, so like let's say Bayern Munich in Japan, people in Japan and understandably when they say, oh, Bayern Munich playing, they want to see the first team play. They don't want to see the guys who are never going to see the field when the league begins. Like it's not beneficial for them. But then it's pre-season and you want to coaches want to try different things, and it just becomes very convoluted. So it's a difficult situation, because the game needs to be grown internationally. But it's it's just, what is that in the chat?
What a fascinating comment.
Oh my lord. So
R.I.P. to your friend.
Yeah. That's rough. Pulling out. But it's it's definitely something that there's a balance, because you obviously want there to be growth, but the cost of that being you're putting more minutes into players that are already playing exorbitant amount of football, and it's clear that we're gonna hit a real crossroads where teams just don't do it because it's not worth it, and players are like, we're not doing this. I'm not traveling. I'm resting up. I'm gonna have a life, So it's definitely, I think when that Club World Cup comes, which I think is next year, I think we're gonna face a real problem.
Yeah, I can't imagine you playing Zweite Bundesliga and that ends, and then it's like Euros happen, and then preseason, and then the season already is about to start in a week. So
yeah,
I do have one last question before we have our game. Okay. You're in a unique perspective. You've interviewed some Bundesliga personalities. From the outside, it seems like the Bundesliga media is very tight knit. What's kind of the how is being a media member of the Bundesliga specifically? What is that like?
That's a good question. Yeah, it is pretty tight knit, and there's definitely like, you get to bounce ideas off with people, and I guess the cool thing is sort of at times you'll be in the know of things that not a lot of other people might not get access to. So that's always quite a unique perspective. Also depends on like, I might get the news later on, because I'll be asleep when the news is happening, and then you're like, oh, this happened. Okay, better look into it. So yeah, it's cool. I mean, like I've been pretty fortunate to meet some people from the DFL. I'll name drop Tom Julian, for example, who's like international, PR and a genuinely awesome guy, very helpful. So yeah, there's definitely some really cool individuals that work at the Frankfurt office in particular, who are able to sort of push things forward. So there's a lot happening. You always have to stay up to date with things, and yeah, it's a cool position to be in. But yeah, you also don't want to be known as just the Zweite Bundesliga guy from Australia. There's also a bit more to it, but yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like you, I think you do sim Formula One racing.
Oh, poorly. It should be noted. I'm an avid gamer, so like at the moment I've been playing College Football 25.
Everybody in the world has been playing that. Oh my god, dude! My goodness.
I can't play defense. So this is why I like to do like a Road to Glory, and my QB's playing at Iowa, which was really random.
State.
Yeah, go Hawkeyes. So. It's a cool game, but man, can we get a patch update to get some offensive blocking, pass protection? My guy's getting killed in the backfield. They might actually have Kinnick Stadium might have to have a grave at midfield, because that's where I'm staying. Just block. Come on, man. There's some deep throws. Let me throw the rock. I keep getting, but yeah. No, I do like my Formula One. There was actually one time, it was 2021, where I posted an image, and it was of one of my other cats, Abby, which rest in peace, Abby. Love Abby. She was sitting in front of the TV as I was doing like a lap, and F1 Esports were like, "Oh, that's funny. We're gonna post that on our thing." So I was like, "Yeah, score one for me." So yeah.
I don't know what is happening in chat right now, but speaking of games, it's about that time.
Oh boy.
You even expressed a little nervousness about this game. I felt a little evil even coming up with it. For our crowd, we are gonna play, I hope, guess that transfer record. Zweite Bundesliga edition.
Lord.
So, your rules, Mr. Matthew. You have 2 guesses.
Okay.
There are 8 questions, because it got very hard to create.
Yep.
Yeah. You'll get the year, like the season of the transfer. And then it's only arrivals. So we'll make it easy. It's only arrivals. The prices are in euros, just as a neutrality to currency. All records are transfer marks, so none of this is my fault. And then you get a bonus point if you can guess if they were on the roster for more than 2 years total, and it does not include loans.
I feel like I'm about to get found out here, because this is where like I'm gonna get found out so bad right now. So.
Don't feel bad. When I was going through it, I'm like, I wouldn't get any of these. Are you ready?
Yes, let's roll.
All right. Question 1: transfer fee of 975,000 euros in the 2016-2017 season. Ignore the recent record. I might have fucked that one up, but
Nathan Di Medina. Bielefeld fans love him. Okay, 975. It feels like it should be Braunschweig. I don't remember Magdeburg being in the second division. I don't think Regensburg would have had that kind of money, and that might have been the year. I feel like it's either Braunschweig or Karlsruhe. It just doesn't feel like Regensburg would have that kind of money to spend on a player, and Magdeburg weren't in the Zweite Bundesliga.
Well, these transfers are just regardless of the league. They're just in the Zweite Bundesliga now.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think they're a Braunschweig player.
Is that your final answer?
Yeah.
Well, you already got one right. You're so nervous about it, and you got one right. Congratulations. It is Suleiman Abudali from Viking Norway. Now, you have the follow-up question. Was he on the roster for more than 2 years?
Yes, he was. And then he went to Union Berlin, and it just didn't work out for him, if memory serves correct.
My goodness, you got it right, right on the nose. Starting out the gate with 2 points. After thinking you were going to get found out. Now look at that.
I still might. There's plenty. There's still 7 more questions.
There are 7 more questions. All right, here we go.
Ooh.
The bad amount. 1 million, but in 2012, 2013, which of these teams? Which is that transfer record?
Crazy. That's crazy. That could get you Ragnar Ake last year.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely not Hanover. They were in the Bundesliga. I feel like it might be Kaiserslautern because actually no. Oh.
I should have game music now that I realize this.
Paderborn definitely don't have the money for that. I'll say Kaiserslautern. I think it might have been if this will test my memory. I feel like that was the year they were pushing to get back into the Bundesliga. So I'll say Kaiserslautern.
Okay, is that your first guess? I guess I kind of gave it away. That's not the right answer. So you get one more. Narrowed it down to 3 teams. It's
not Hanover. It's not Hanover. Would Fürth have that?
The asymmetry of the Paderborn crest is very unsoothing. Yes, it is. That's very hard to format stuff with that logo.
That's a fact. It looks so ugly. Let's go with Fürth.
You are correct. It is Great Fürth.
God, this is like... Do we get phone a friend?
If you want.
Wow.
Yeah, in today's money, that would be 1.3 million. You already got it. All right, I'll give you a point for that one.
I didn't see it, but
he was only there for a year, and then he left for Augsburg.
What an investment!
You'll see. I was very surprised seeing some of the paths that people get. Did they get that million from Kissinger? LOL.
No.
And then technicality alert. I don't know. Like it seemed like they're gonna pay the 2 million for Jessic Ngankamp, and then Berlin didn't take it. So
he's legally. I think he's gonna be good for Hanover. By the way.
Yes. Extremely. All right, now we're gonna up the money a little bit. We're not gonna be broke all the time.
Oh my lord!
6.75 million in 2019, 2020.
That's wow. That feels like Köln.
Is that your final guess?
Yeah.
Incorrect.
Oh wow! How did any of the other teams? Definitely not Darmstadt. I don't think. See, now I'm getting found out as we. We got someone. Good thing I've got the chat up. Could it be Fortuna?
Oh my goodness! Well, you're gonna get half a point for that.
Yes. Yeah, I do suck. I'm sorry. I'm trying my best. This, All right.
Okay. Wait. The player first. I didn't even know that.
Did they signed him in? Oh no, he was on loan. And
yeah.
Yeah. He did spend more than 2 seasons with Fortuna Düsseldorf.
Yes, he did. He joined January 1st in the winter, and then he was put on loan in 2022. He left to Bremen and free, and I'm not even sure if he's still there.
He is still there, but you wouldn't know it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Crazy for a records transfer. Question number 4. Now we're in the big money. The big money.
Oh my lord.
25 million in 2019-2020. Is it Hamburg? Is it Schalke? Is it Hertha? Or is it FC Kaiserslautern?
God, teams that have that kind of money. Schalke. Feels like Schalke. You know, they still, as much as they were preparing for the decline, it does feel like they would be a team that would be able to throw their money around still.
Is that your final guess?
Yes.
Incorrect.
God, I'm awful at this. I am terrible at this game.
This is why I have 2 guesses. That is exactly why.
This is 25 million. God.
Keep it the year is kind of a giveaway.
Oh, yeah. Hamburg.
Is that your final
Haasfeld.
guess?
Yep.
Wrong. It's Hertha.
Wow, it's Hertha. Really?
And guess who's for? Lucas to start.
Do you know what it is? It's the fact that and this is probably why I'm getting caught out, is that I'm immediately just trying to put them in the division in that league at that time. That's the problem. So he spent more than 2 years though at Hertha before joining Union and wasting away there. So have fun with that.
And then side fun fact: 5 of their top 10 arrivals ever were in the 2020 season, which is insane.
And look where they are now.
Yeah. In fact, I think even you could up it to 7 if you go out the last 3 years. So.
Oof, that's nasty.
All right, now we're in difficult hours now.
I have no chance getting this, by the way. So
the year is not a giveaway in this one.
No. Okay, so we can rule out Elversberg.
Yeah.
All right. I want to say it's Ulm. Yeah, well, that'll be my first guess. We'll say Ulm.
Is that your final answer?
Yep.
It is Ulm.
Let's go.
So they got Vrago de Silva from Brøndby. In today's money, that is 1.1, well, really 1.2 million euros. Did he stay with the team more than 2 years, though?
Oh, hello. I will say no.
No. He left on a free to Energy Cottbus. What a sentence. What a sentence.
They're back in the Drittliga this season, so they got Bielefeld first up, which I know a lot of fans are really excited about.
That crest is way too top heavy. Yeah, they're fitting a lot of characters into.
There's a lot of text going on. Yeah, it's a bit much.
It looks like clip art a little bit from Microsoft. The early.
I think the SSV isn't big enough. It needs to be much larger.
Absolutely. Yeah. And the football way smaller.
Yeah.
And then just for a fun fact, this year if you look at recent history, their most expensive one was this year, 100K. So they've gone from spending 1.2 million to 100K.
Yeah.
We're back at 1 million, unfortunately. As I said, it is the bad number. However, the year is a giveaway on this one.
Is it?
I guess only for me because I looked it up.
1 million. They could all. No, because it's not. It's not. Is it Paderborn?
I'm not going to lie to you. I kind of don't remember. So, load up your second guess.
I would say it's either Paderborn or Darmstadt. Because if Darmstadt, their record fee, I think, was like Filip Stojilkovic a couple of years ago. Paid like 2 million for him. So
yeah, wait, I kind of don't remember, honestly.
I think it's. I feel like it's Paderborn.
All right. Oh, okay. There we go. It is Paderborn. Kevin Stoger.
What a king.
Came over from Stuttgart. Was he on Paderborn for more than 2 years?
No. Don't feel like he was. I don't think he was, no. I could
You'd
be wrong.
correct. He left literally the next year to Bochum, and then he got transferred around, and now he's the Kevin Sturger we all know and love.
He's been everywhere, man.
And then the next highest in recent times is this year again, for a Macedonian striker, Visar Musilu.
Musliu, yeah.
Musilu. We're back into the big money. Transfer fee, 14 million. 2016 to 2017. Which of the big money teams?
14. I feel like there's definitely got to be a Köln one here. Just because, I feel like there's got to be one. I feel like...
What gave you that idea?
Oh, no, it definitely wasn't the jersey in the background.
Oh, this was here when I got here.
Yeah, just part of the furniture,
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll go... I'll go Köln.
Is that your final answer?
We. Yeah.
No.
Okay. Or Haasfeld. I just don't think it's Schalke. I feel like Schalke have spent more money in the window at some stage.
You would be correct. It is
All right.
Hamburg. Schalke was way more irresponsible with money. Is Philip Kostic. They got Philip Kostic from Stuttgart. Was he on the team for more than 2 years?
I believe so.
Yes, he was. But just barely. Like literally by a few weeks.
Technically. Let's go. Huge.
And then to really show... I had to... The recent record is kind of surprising. That's like the last most they spent was 1.5 million for Laszlo Benes.
Baller. Now he's at Union.
Now we're in the tiny. Obviously, Schalke is not in this. I was starting to run out of teams.
Yeah. Wow. I will say it's either Prussian Munster or Elversberg. I'll say Munster.
You are correct.
Yeah.
For Martin
The alphabet.
The alphabet from Lübeck, it would be 240,000, really 241,000 today's money. Was he on the roster for more than 2 years?
I'm gonna say no.
No, he retired literally within a year. And recent transfer record, a crushing 50K for a Grecian striker this year. So they can
at that point, just send that money to me. So like, you can sign me for that money.
We have reached the end. So you actually did pretty good.
Anyone keeping score?
I did not keep score.
I
think you only got one completely wrong, right? It was
yeah. I would say.
Actually, I think you got literally all.
like the chat, I think we were deep in the source of the quiz, so we're having good fun.
We were putting our brain power at 100%.
Yeah.
That took a lot of effort. I'm going to switch to this because we have just a little bit of time left, so I want to squeak this in. It is the team to watch, untitled spreadsheet, as you can see.
Yep.
So I want to get your teams to watch, your teams to forget, big transfers, and then a fun question: who do you think will go the furthest in the poll call since Kaiserslautern did their magic last year?
Yeah, for sure. I'm really bullish on Hanover this year. I love what they've done in the window. This is year 3 of the Lytle plan, and it's pretty clear that this has got to be the year that they go up. They made the mistake when they first brought him in that we're going straight up. We've got this. We're gaining promotion, and well, they didn't, and they Lytle nearly lost his job when they went 9 games without a win. Ironically, winning their first game of the Rückrunde on April Fool's Day.
Mm-hmm.
Which is just brilliant. They were better last season. And the game they went to in person when they played St. Pauli, they were fantastic. And Ryan makes a great point, saying Say La Vida Martin Kidd is a huge dub because if we're being nice about it, he was a parasite to their football club.
A bit,
And
yeah.
yeah, that's being nice about it, because there are much, unfriendlier words to use, but we'll keep it on the. I think most people know which direction we would go with. So
Yeah, I don't think we
yeah,
really have to say the full description.
not over hungover gas station club. Brilliant.
It kind of sucks that this is the year they kind of have to do that. It seems like the league's going to be incredibly competitive this season.
It's going to be great. I think it's going to be unpredictable as ever, and I think there are a lot of teams that are quite equal, and very difficult to sort of differentiate. They're quite on a similar level, so it'll be good. Number 2. I'm really interested to see what Kaiserslautern does under Marcus Anfang. I think, last season was an absolute shit show for them. It felt like they took way too long, or didn't give Dirk Schuster enough time. The Gramotzes signing almost got them relegated, and somehow the wily old Friedhelm Funkel comes in and saves the day. I really like watching Marlon Ritter. I think they've got some really good players, but let's be frank. Ragnar Ake was a big component as to why they were able to survive. His goals were invaluable over the course of the campaign, and I expect nothing less. I think if they can, it seems like they've been quite busy in the window, and we've seen like Marcus Anfang teams can do quite well in the Zweite Bundesliga. They were solid when he was at Darmstadt. That first year when he was at Kiel, and look, even though he's a Köln person at heart, even though for 31 match days they were essentially unbeaten, the top of the league, it wasn't a happy hunting ground. So, the knock on him is that he was poor at Dresden, because they were a team expecting to gain promotion, and on both occasions they fumbled their opportunity to even make the playoffs. So this is a big redemption arc for him. He's got a massive club in Kaiserslautern in terms of their popularity, and I think it's going to be really interesting. So I'm interested to see what they do. Their home kit looks also pretty interesting. It's Castore, which I'm a bit nervous to talk about, because if I was to ever buy a kit from Castore, the logo might fall off. So that's a common thing. Third team to watch. There's a bit of I don't know, like I was talking about this in the office yesterday, about the interest of Miroslav Klose to Nuremberg. Because it was so left field. It wasn't on anyone's radar, and having you just didn't know what was going to go on. And they've got a new sporting director whose name I cannot pronounce, unfortunately, who they got from the German national team, and they've done some interesting things. The hard thing is that you lose a lot of your production with Can Özcan, who's off to Frankfurt. So that's sort of the question mark. But now that you know that you're not relying on one player, they've got rid of a lot of the dead weight, because they had a lot of players on that team that were just there. And like Johannes Geis is fun as long as he doesn't have to defend as a midfielder. And there are several other players on that team who continue to hold them back. So they've gotten a little bit younger. It looks like they've Reichelt is going to be the goalkeeper, who is massive. He's interesting. A lot of people I spoke to talk him up very highly. So it's going to be fascinating. I think just because as a child you watch him, Miroslav Klose, do his thing, and now you see him in management. You want to see how he goes, and it's a big opportunity for him, because Nuremberg have sort of been on the slide of over the last 18 months, and they never really recovered when they sacked Robert Klaus. They brought in Marcus Weinziel, who was it happened. Dieter Hecking, who, let's be frank, as a sporting director, if we're speaking objectively, was poor. Was very poor. He built these teams, and there was no accountability on his part as to like, oh, we need to fix this, we need to do something. It was, oh yeah, this is fine. New coach can come in, Christian Fiol can come in, and he had the same problem. It was essentially the same team. If they didn't find guys like Finn Yelch and Chanos and the later stages of Nathaniel Brown, they're probably playing third division. Like that's the reality of their situation. So I know like there'll be a little bit of a patient period because this is his first proper go at it at a top tier level. Let's see how it goes. I'm really excited to see how they can go.
Yeah, it seems like you said, getting rid of a lot of the dead weight, not just on the field but off it. Like even if they didn't do well this year, like I think they're setting themselves up hopefully for success going forward.
Absolutely. Speaking
of dead weight, what team do you think has the most dead weight in the Zweite Bundesliga this year?
This is tough. Like I've had two thoughts on this. Well, actually, three thoughts. One was Dusseldorf because it's extremely hard to. But they're not the team to forget. I just want to make a point that Fortuna Dusseldorf are trying to do something that has only happened once since the playoffs returned in 2009. Augsburg are the only team that have lost in the relegation playoff and then gained promotion the following season.
Of course,
it hasn't been done. I know, all right. So, but it's really hard to do that. Kaiserslautern came close and then they got relegated. Braunschweig lost the playoff and got relegated the following season. It's extremely hard. Now, luckily, they've kept a good chunk of their team. Like it's pretty much the same guys. The big question mark is, can they cover the loss of Christos Solis? Do they have players on that squad that can account for the 22 missing goals that they'll have this season? That's the big question. And if not, they're in trouble. For me, I guess a team to forget, which it's harsh because I do worry a little bit for Darmstadt. I think they'll just kind of settle in like teams like Fürth have done, and just kind of resume that sort of mid-table, and then eventually they'll make a push. I don't really think I don't think they're in danger of going down, but I don't think they're really going to press anyone on promotion. So yeah, they'll just be there. But
they'll just be the there team.
Yeah, and that's no disrespect to Darmstadt. We'll see how they go. So yeah.
Let's skip these three since we're coming up on time. And then let's do. What team do you think will go furthest from the second Bundesliga in the Pokal?
Which team is set up for cup football?
We will not make fun of you if it's wrong. This is like the biggest crapshoot.
I always get this one wrong anyway, so there's no stress whenever I've been asked it. Because you could just take a stab at it. Cup football's so different, and you're just really uncertain as to how it will go. Let's go. I'm gonna be biased. This is the only time I'm gonna be biased on this program. I think a team from Gelsenkirchen is going to have a run in the Pokal. I think Schalke.
Oh.
They're due a good run in the Pokal. So and knowing this, we know this now, they will probably lose in the first round.
So theoretically thinking, right? I'm hearkening back to something you said earlier. If you were to like a team, which obviously you hate everyone.
Yeah, of course.
But your first game was Köln Dortmund. And then theoretically, you would end up being a Schalke fan, obviously, in theory.
Yeah.
That's pretty crazy.
That is crazy, right? Yeah. It's very crazy.
Did you decide? Well, you did say it was an ugly game, so then you just...
It just happened. I can't explain it. It just happened.
It's how it happens sometimes.
Yeah.
And then best matchup. So the one criticism I have for the first league is that...
No derbies.
There's no derbies, but... Bundesliga, we have a billion. What do you think is... And then even some just good matchups. What do you think is the best one to watch?
I'm really interested to watch Köln Fortuna Düsseldorf.
Ooh.
Rhine Derby on the... Do you know what's funny? What's funny? I've got a friend who I met doing audio descriptive commentary training, and he's a Düsseldorf fan. Families are from Düsseldorf. and I get it from both ends now, because there's the people who follow Köln and Düsseldorf, and it's like, okay, yeah, I'm the guy in the middle. But I think that would be a really fun game because, I think if we're talking the proper Rhine derby, it's Köln Gladbach, like it just is. But this is still good. This is still good sauce. Like this should be prime time Saturday night. Standalone. Everyone gets to watch it. You bring the boys over, and you just enjoy, one of the big games. I think that is the game. I guess you can say Schalke, Hamburg will be interesting, but we've seen that.
Yeah,
we haven't seen Köln Düsseldorf for a while, and I think that game will be really interesting, and hopefully we'll see some good football. I mean, if you ever go to a fan friendship game, so I did Schalke Nuremberg, but also Hertha Karlsruhe atmospherically is really strong as well. So but it's almost unfair because if you're going to get atmosphere, I would say a good chunk of the stadiums you're going to get a fantastic time.
Yeah. And then someone said, if Schalke draw Bayern, their Gale was once win. If they flare out again in the early rounds, I don't know.
You know what? It's very. I always felt this as well. Whenever we progressed, I said we. There you go. Gave it away. Whenever Schalke progressed through the Pokal, it was like, okay, when are we playing Bayern? Because it's coming, right? Sure they've got Arlen in the first round, but they're definitely getting Bayern at some stage. It's just how it happens. I don't know if someone's got the Patrick Ewing theory where they freeze the ball so they get so you end up getting Bayern. But yeah, so hopefully not. But we'll wait and see.
That will go in our 50+ donor conspiracy episode we're doing later in the year. Well, Matthew, this has been. Do you prefer Matthew or Matt?
I'm flexible. Okay. As long as it's respectful, I suppose.
All right. Well, I'll just say Matthew.
Okay.
Appreciate you having on, waking up extra early to be on this goofy little show of mine.
Wow.
Where can people find you? Where can people find your work?
Just at my name, at Matthew Karagich on Twitter, X, whatever it's called
Whatever
now.
It wants to be called.
Yeah, I admittedly haven't been on often this so far, but as the season starts to wrap in, I'll get a bit more active, and yeah, just getting excited. It's only 2 weeks away till we
Like a week.
A week. Yeah, that's right. It's next week.
Yeah.
When the ball rolls in
Hamburg
Köln,
starting next Friday.
Let's go. So yeah, really, yeah, that's where you can find me, and yeah, thanks for having me on. I hope I can do it again soon.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Open invite. Let me know next time you want to come on. I'm definitely gonna post a link on Twitter. Don't worry, Mike. And most importantly, thank you all for watching. We will be back next week to really kick off the season. We're literally a day before the season starts. We'll have Beeflin back, and hopefully we'll see you all next week. But for the time being, have a nice week and have fun.
50+ Döner. Unparteiisch, faktisch korrekt.